Hey BookTube, how are you doing? This is Peg at the History Shelf. I thought I'd come at you today and make a quick video. Wanted to show you some used books I've picked up recently. It could be recent, they could be older than that, but what does it really matter? You just want to see the book. So let's do this thing. It's been a long day. The sun is still out, but it's the end of the day, and I've had a long one. How about you? How you doing out there? Okay, so we're going to start off with I picked this one up because it sounded so interesting, and I think it follows along on a book similar to this about, oh yeah, Embattled Courage, which is down here. Oh, I gotta find it. Was another book I picked up, I think by the same author, about the battle experiences of soldiers in the Civil War, but this is America's Combat Experience in World War II, The World Within War by Gerald F. Linderman. I'm thinking of The Witcher, Geralt. Okay. I picked this up off Thrift Books, I believe. This is from the Free Press. This came out 1997. Let's see here. Let's see. So, The World Within War is a stunning achievement. Historian Linderman has created a seamless and highly original social history, authoritatively recovering and capturing the full experience of combat in World War II. Based on a vast array of letters, diaries, books, and a survey of veterans by the Army War College, The World Within War cuts through the many layers of protective shielding in soldiers' memoirs to find the shards of direct experiences that lie beneath. The Allied Axis conflict was far more complex than even the Great War, and much has been made by previous historians of the differences between the European theater and the grimly barbaric Pacific. Yet Linderman demonstrates that there were more similarities than differences, that for American soldiers around the globe, the war was disintegrative. Examining how Americans prepared for battle, how they treated each other, how they conceived of the enemy, how they thought of home, and how they reacted to battle itself, Linderman argues that ultimately, in both theaters, combat had its own grim logic, independent of causes and countries, flags, and commanders. You know me, military history is one of my passions, so I heard about this and I was like, I gotta check this out. I hadn't checked this out before. Um, I picked up a couple of books from William F. Buckley Jr. Now, he wrote fiction too. He was more than just a conservative with a lowercase c, magazine editorial, editor and writer and essayist and journalist. But he also wrote fiction, and I did not know that he wrote a book on Nuremberg. This is Nuremberg The Reckoning, a novel. Historical fiction is also one of my big, this is the history shelf. So not only is it history, it's also historical fiction. So I wanted to check this out. It says here, the scene of a trial without precedent in history, a trial that continues to haunt the modern world. Leading the reader into the palace is Sebastian, a young German American whose fate is to be involved intimately with the lives and deaths of others, the father who disappeared mysteriously, the ancestors whose stories become vitally relevant, and some of the towering figures of 20th century legal history, including Justice Robert Jackson, Albert Speer, Hermann Goring, and the dark, untried shadow of Adolf Hitler. In a gripping account of war makers who must face the consequences of their actions, Nuremberg The Reckoning flows through Warsaw, Berlin, Lodz, Munich, Hamburg, and finally Nuremberg as Sebastian, an interpreter-interrogator, comes to terms with his family legacy and his national identity. So yeah, this sounds really good to me. Be interested to see what his prose style is. So got a couple of like biographies on writers. This book was written by Madison Smart Bell, who I am familiar with. I have his biography on Toussaint Louverture, but he's also written, I think, a trilogy of novels set in Haiti, revolving around Toussaint Louverture, and I think I have the first two. I think I did. I think I picked them up through Book Outlet. And I still want to read them. I haven't gotten to them yet, but he's written a biography, which is it's been all over BookTube like a couple years ago, but I'm just now getting this book, Child of Light, a biography of Robert Stone by Madison Smart Bell. I don't know why I'm showing you the back. So I'm familiar with. A, I haven't read Robert Stone, but I want to, and this is why I wanted to get the biography as well. Library of America just came out with three of his novels, I think. Dog Soldiers is one of them. Is part of the collection. So I have that, but this is going to go into some detail on his life and his motivations and muses and um, yeah, I just want to learn a little bit more about the guy. And I'd seen others on BookTube talk about this, so I thought I'd check it out. I won't read you the description because we've got a lot of books to get through. The next book, I looked for this online and I paid a little bit more because it's in such great condition and it's a hard to find book now. This is from Yale University Press, and this is Knut Hamsun, Dreamer and Dissenter by Ingar Sletten Cologne. My glasses look crooked. Um, in case, just because I think, well, you might not know of Robert Stone either, but I remember reading Hunger by Knut Hamsun when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and it really kind of shook me. I didn't realize people could write like that. It was really dark and bleak, and yeah. And I'm always been intrigued by people who are like morally ambiguous, and this is what this is. Knut Hamsun certainly was that. Um, let's go in. I won't read all of this, but he won the Nobel Prize Literature in 1920, I believe for Pan, or Growth of the Soil. But I think it was Pan. Lauded for his literary achievements by Hemingway, Gide, and Hess, and others, he also provoked outrage at his open collaboration with the fascists during the German occupation of Norway and his insistent refusal to renounce his Nazi sympathies. See? Well, that's not too ambiguous. That's just bad. But this goes into his early life, um, you know, in his peasant farming family, his tempestuous and jealousy-racked second marriage, his erratic relationship with his children, and it goes into his erratic relationship. I just said that. It goes into his love affair with Nazi Germany. Anyway, I wanted to check that out, so I picked this one up as well. Yay! Now we're moving on to Civil War books, and one of my favorites. I've read probably two of these three, although I'm going to be rereading all of them. Um, I cut my teeth in Civil War history with Bruce Catton and then this author because I loved his biography on General George McClellan, the young Napoleon. Speaking of Napoleon, is anyone else as stoked as I am when that trailer dropped that Ridley Scott is making a movie on Napoleon? Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix, I can go either way, but I guess he's reusing him because of Gladiator. They kind of roll together, but the trailer looked outstanding. I'm so excited. Also, I'm gonna try to get out to see Oppenheimer this weekend because it looks. I wanted to say mind blowing, but it's kind of like atom bomb. I don't want to make those analogies, but uh, just the cinematography, just the history, and Cillian Murphy looks like he just kills it in this role. So anyway, let's go with this. So I had these books at one point in my life, but I've lost them or whatnot. So I bought this book used, and seems to be and I wanted hardcover. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't want softcover. I don't like these newer softcover releases of these classic works of history and these undersized softcover books that the print is so light and fine, and it's just I want a big page like this. When I'm reading a book, I want a page that looks like this with paper this wide. That's my My angry, my angry old person rant right there. I'm not an old person. Look, I don't even have gray hair. Sometimes I argue with myself. This came out in 1983, but yeah, Landscape Turned Red is his well-known book on the Battle of Antietam. It is a classic, and I have read it, but it's been a long time, so I want to reread it. This will be my reader copy. I'm still on the lookout for something that is really in great condition. This thing is really just beat up. I bought it through thrift books. It's not quite as it was described. I could have gotten my money back, but I'm like, I'll hang on to it. The next one I picked up is far more sturdy. It's a used copy, but I'm very pleased with the look and feel of this. And this is Chancellorsville by Stephen W. Sears. And this one came out, ooh, oh, just when you need to open the page and it won't open. Okay. It came out in the, I think, 96. So this one came out in 96, and it's a beautiful, there's no markings, no discolorations, wonderful inserts, maps. So, I mean, I had been parted from these books for so long, and I wanted these back on my shelves because I knew that I had Bruce Catton books, and in fact, I'm going to pause at one moment here and show you that I just decided, rather than have my mom go digging through tons of boxes in her garage for these two books, I was going to see if I could find new copies of the versions that I had, because I want the same jacket. I'll show you those in a second. So then the final Stephen W. Sears book I picked up of his, I think it's a library discard. It's got the Mylar cover. It's in fantastic condition. Very happy with it. Used. This is The Gates of Richmond, the Peninsula campaign. Sorry for the glare. So yeah, just very, there might be a little mark there, but other than that, I even got a free bookmark. It's like, thank you. Um, I could read about the Civil War campaigns all the livelong day. Look at these pictures. So awesome. I don't know. If you asked me to really define my Civil War obsession, I don't think I could. I don't think I could. It's just there. It's like in my blood. So The Gates of Richmond, the Peninsula Campaign by Stephen W. Sears. So I'm happy that I've got these three to add back onto my Civil War history shelves, because it's more than just one shelf. It's many shelves. Um so okay, let me grab those Bruce Canton books. Hang on. Okay, here we are. So these are the two books that I fell deep in love with, that made me fall in love with Grant. The Man, the General. Wow. And these still remain my two favorite books on Grant in the war. And this is, we start with this wonderful edition. I was able to find these. These are the ones with the same cover and everything that I read when I was like 13. Grant Moved South, 1861 to 1863. Part 1 of the classic Civil War study of General Ulysses S. Grant by Bruce Catton. So this was for the Little Brown editions, right? So Grant Moved South introduces Grant as he undertakes his first Civil War command and follows him as he leads his troops through a series of battles: Belmont, Fort Donelson, Shiloh, Corinth, Chickasaw Bayou, Edwards Station, and finally Vicksburg, that bring control of the Mississippi River, the lifeline of the South, to the Union. In the course of this dramatic narrative, Grant is revealed as a man of greatness, unrecognized by previous biographers. Now, I know that Catton was a response to the negative biography that William McFeely had put out. In fact, I think that was the first book I ever read on Grant. Well, unfortunately, was William S. McFeely's biography, and he was not, everyone knows that he was very anti-Grant, did not like him. I remember thinking as I was reading the book, I'm like, God, why do you hate this guy so much, you know? Um, so yeah, I wanted to have this again, and I want to reread it. It has been forever since I've read my beloved Catton, and it's time for a reread. So I have Grant Moves South. And then, of course, Grant Takes Command. part two. I'm so happy to have these back on my shelf. Now, these aren't the ones that I grew up with, obviously. Not the same book, but it is the same edition with these covers, and that means a lot. And I have to smell. I'm sorry. So, luckily, these used books that I picked up did not reek of smoke. I just got a book in the mail today that I had ordered used. I think it came from Half Price Books. Really wish someone would be honest. Yeah, I mean, I didn't care that the pages were yellow. It was an older book. It was from 1977. It's a paperback of about Darwin, and it was a book by Gertrude Himmelfarb, and the thing, it reeked of cigarette smoke. I can't do anything with that. I don't want to hold that. I don't want it to be anywhere near my clothing. So I got to figure out how to return it. But so luckily, yeah, those used books, they don't tell you smells of smoke, but you've got to smell the pages to make sure they don't have something funky going on. So yay, reunited, and it feels so good. That's what I'm saying. Wow, woo! Grant, the man, the legend. I've got a bust of him or a statue of him right there that I got for Christmas from Martine. She knows. She knows. Um, oh, and then this was a while ago I picked this up because I picked up a couple of versions of these books. I thought from Book Outlet hardcover that they would be the kind I wanted, but they were some cheap knockoff reprints, and I hated it. So I'm like, I want to get one of these and eventually get my hand on all of the books in this biography series, or there's multiple volumes of this biography. It's Dumas Malone's Jefferson the Virginian. So this is the kind I wanted, like the real older version. Of course, I got the Mylar cover, came from a library. I don't know if this is is this the first in the series? It's one of a 6-volume work entitled Jefferson and His Time. Now, I'm not sure which one this one is. It doesn't say like which volume number, but I'm just trying to go by the years here. Excuse me. A little dusty. Anyway, I wanted this version. The other ones I got were just cheapos, and I'm gonna either donate them or whatever. But yeah, some of the others in the series are extremely expensive, secondhand. People know how valuable these editions are. So this one I found for like $7, but others in this biography series on Jefferson they're not cheap. But I wanted to grab that one. Okay, so now we're going to move to historical fiction, and I posted this on my Instagram a couple weeks ago. So if you follow the History Shelf on Instagram, you saw a picture of it. I couldn't believe I found this beautiful. I had just been talking about Shogun and James Clavell because I had hauled one of his books, Whirlwind, which is, I guess, part of this whole series is called the Asian Saga. And they even listed on the side of this book. But I went to Second and Charles, and here was this beautiful, pristine hardcover copy of this book, and I got it for free with my credit. But I picked up Gaijin. Look at this beautiful cover. Now, see, look at this. They list the Asian Saga, all the books in that saga. So I had picked up Whirlwind. I have Shogun. So now I have the middle one. So the only ones I'm missing are Taipan, King Rat, and Noble House. I know where I can get a softcover edition of King Rat. I can get it at Hamilton Book for $6, but I like these older editions. And look at just how clean. Whoever turned this into Second and Charles, it was just like, it's a brand new book. And I just love getting into big, thick historical fiction novels, and the paper's all like smooth and it's almost glossy. I mean, this is going to be a nice, fun read. So Gaijin is set in 1862. It says here, it is 1862, and in Japan's foreign settlement of Yokohama, reverberations from an explosive act of violence will forever alter and connect the lives of the major characters. Malcolm Struan, at 20, is heir to the title of Taipan of the most powerful and bitterly contested English trading company in the Orient, the Noble House. Well, that explains what that is. Okay. Malcolm's fate and that of his family's legacy become inextricably intertwined with that of a beautiful young Frenchwoman, Angelique Richaud. Rashad, desired by many, loved purely and passionately by Malcolm, Angelique will hold the future of the noble house in her hands. And it goes on and on. Wow, this is looking good. Yeah, here where east meets west and an inevitable conclude. I can't speak, so we're gonna stop there because they're throwing some big words in right now, and it's been a long day. I've been writing like crazy. Been writing book reviews and revising them, and well, that was all weekend. I just finished one, and I had to send off some changes just now. I've, I think I've hit the nail on the head, but we shall see. Every editor is different. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, I got another. Okay. And then this one I ordered on Thrift Books on a whim. I had considered buying more of her books because I recently bought a hardcover of her book. Not Anstey and Q. I think it was Caesar. No, this is what I'm holding. It's another one in her series, and it was called The First Man in Rome. Yes, this is Colleen McCullough. And I'm trying to collect all of her Roman novels. And so this one came in relatively good condition. I mean, again, I like hardcovers. And first among first among first among men, I have that in hardcover as well. Sorry, The First in Rome, I have that in hardcover. So I wanted to get Caesar, and I guess got a Mylar cover here. Thrift Books, not too bad. You know, it's been well loved. It's been well read. I don't know if I should be reading I should be reading them in chronological, like historical order. So this one is set in 54 BC. Obviously, does this come after The First Man in Rome? I love how, see, there's artwork in here and stuff. Like, I love this stuff. God, look at this. She's even got maps. You see that? Why am I holding my arms at different weird angles? It's just, yeah. What do you think of that? Oh, I love it. 'Cause this kind of helps you imagine where people are walking and where they're going and where the buildings are set. Sometimes I find in vast historical things like that, my mind is not equal to the task. I'm like, can you show me a picture of what this city should look like? I don't know. Um, more line art in there. So look at that. So I picked up Caesar. Now I know I probably want to get her Antony and Cleopatra as well. But that's for another day. Um, Keep going. It's only 23 minutes and I've got a stack. I thought I'd have to do two, and I will have to do another used book haul video. But for now, let's just continue on. This goes with something else, so I'll save it for next time. Um, yeah, speaking of Gertrude Himmelfarb, so the book I had ordered on Darwin obviously is a bust. I'm going to try to get my money back or send it back and try to get a book that does not smell like smoke. Now, this one was I bought this through Half Price Books, and this one turned out okay. It was a used copy. This one did not reek of smoke. At least I don't think so. No, it does not. This is the demoralization of society from Victorian virtues to modern values. Now, I listened to the commentary podcast with the editors and other associated writers of Commentary Magazine, and I love that podcast. And they've got a new feature at the end of every segment now, which is Commentary Recommends. And Christine Rosen was the one who recommended this book. And I have a few others of Himmelfarb's, but I did not have the Demoralization of Society. And she highly recommended it, and I love those guys. They are so just so intelligent and balanced, just fantastic. They kind of reflect how I feel on a lot of things. Um, I'm sorry, and this is dog hair, just so you know, and other things, but it's not me. This shirt. Um, Here we go. From one of America's leading intellectual historians comes an important corrective to the popular impression of the Victorian era, a scrupulous work of historical research that is at the same time a bold and provocative attack on post-industrial, postmodern society. Gertrude Himmelfarb, like so many Americans, is appalled by crime, drug addiction, illiteracy, juvenile delinquency, illegitimacy, and welfare dependency. Let me just tell you when this book came out, because you're probably like, what? Who talks like this anymore? 1994. Okay. The solution she proposes in this follow-up to her much praised On Looking into the Abyss is as simple as it is radical and has the further advantage of solid historical substantiation. We must look back on the Victorians with open minds. They must cease to irk us. And then, Himmelfarb keenly hopes, we can begin to learn from them. Nowadays, everyone from politician to teacher to journalist is constantly invoking values, a term so relative and subjective as to become meaningless. For their parts, the Victorians on both sides of the Atlantic concerned themselves with virtues, respectability, self-help, philanthropy, discipline, cooperation, cleanliness, obedience, orderliness. Their commitment to these qualities amounted to a surrogate religion, and they redoubled this commitment when religion itself, in the wake of Darwin's revelations, became attenuated. While individual Victorians often fell short of moral standards, Himmelfarb cites among others George Eliot, Charles Dickens, and William Gladstone, they insisted on paying for their indiscretions. They never ceased to believe wholeheartedly in a moral code that, cutting across class lines, governed both public and private lives. Nothing could be further removed, Himmelfarb contends, from the prevailing attitude today, when morals have been reduced to a matter of personal taste or political expediency, when the very idea of morality has become suspect. Sorry. Someone just pulled up. I think they're going to knock on the door and make all the dogs bark. Don't you hate when that happens, especially when you're recording a video? Anyway, so I really want to check this out. This is our author. So, the demoralization of society. I don't think I have Looking into the Abyss, but she also recommended that one. Christine Rosen did. So on Looking into the Abyss. So I might try to find that one if this is a follow-up. But I'm glad to I picked it up. Nice deckle-edged copy, good condition. And oh, here's a cute little book I picked up at Thrift Books for super cheap. Very skinny little volume, but I just love the title. Okay, we'll end on this one so I can get just a good 30-minute video. Hopefully, shouldn't take too long to upload. This is called Great Books, Bad Arguments. Republic, Leviathan, and the Communist Manifesto by W.G. Runciman. This was put out by Princeton. Hey, Princeton. Back in the day. Oh, I'm not sure what I paid for, but that wasn't what I paid. This is an old sticker. It's a used book. It says here, Plato's Republic, Hobbes's Leviathan, and Marx's Communist Manifesto are universally acknowledged classics of Western political thought. But how strong are the core arguments on which they base their visions of the good society that they want to bring into being? In this lively and provocative book, W.G. Runciman shows where and why they fail, even after due allowance has been made for the different historical contexts in which they wrote. Plato, Hobbes, and Marx were all passionately convinced that justice, peace, and order could be established if only their teachings were implemented and the right people put into power. But Runciman makes a powerful case to the effect that all three were irredeemably naive in their assumptions about how human societies function and evolve and how human behavior could be changed. Here's a hint. Psst, it can't be changed. I just wish more people would understand that, or at least accept. It's kind of immutable. Yet, despite this, Runciman insists that Republic, Leviathan, and the Communist Manifesto remain great books. Born of righteous anger and frustration, they are masterfully eloquent pleas for better worlds, worlds that Plato, Hobbes, and Marx cannot bring themselves to admit to be unattainable. Thank you. Yeah, this is just the tonic I need. This is a tonic. So, by W.G. Runciman. Thank you, sir, for writing this. Okay, guys, so we're going to end this one here. I still have a stack of some used books, and I'll save that for another day. Spread it out, maybe wait another week or so, mix it up with some other vids. But let me know what you saw here, what you liked, and until next time, BookTube, we'll be seeing you.